Oscar winner Tom Hanks is taking people to the moon on a visual ride like no other. The immersive experience called The Moonwalkers, A Journey with Tom Hanks, is co-written and narrated by Hanks. He tells the still incredible story of the Apollo missions when humans landed on the moon 6 times up to 1972. We met Hanks in Houston, where the film recently opened. At Space Center Houston, where visitors can see a command module that's been to the moon and moon rocks, they're lining up for something else.
A giant rocket.
An immersive film that's a 270-degree multi-screen view inside the Apollo missions.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
This is The Moonwalkers, A Journey with Tom Hanks. Hi, Tom, Adriana. Now imagine watching the film with the narrator himself.
Lean forward and be really fascinated by something.
Okay.
Wow. See how we see this? We're acting.
The Academy Award-winning actor has loved space since watching launches in elementary school and is drawn to projects like Apollo 13
Houston, we have a problem.
and an Apollo miniseries.
From the Earth to the moon.
But The Moonwalkers, Hanks co-wrote. One of my favorite lines in the film is when you say going to the moon is not just a technological
Endeavor, it's an artistic one.
What inspired that?
I was sitting at home in December of 1968. Bill Anders, Jim Lovell, and Frank Borman broadcast a live TV message from the moon.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
I remember thinking to myself, I am so glad I'm 13 years old and I'm alive at the moment that we of a species go from never being on the moon to having been to the moon.
One giant leap for mankind.
And I bought all the little models and all the little toys.
And you're still at it.
Yeah, I can't shake it.
That's why when he saw an art show at this immersive London venue called Lightroom, he got an idea.
I just said, you know, this could be the closest you could get to walking on the moon if you did something about Apollo here.
With his help, they did, using mostly photos and films that Apollo astronauts shot themselves. Like of this family photo that Apollo 16 astronaut Charlie Duke left on the lunar surface. Hi, Chris. Welcome in. The images were handpicked by co-writer and space documentarian Chris Riley.
We're used on Earth to seeing distance that slightly kind of grays out because you're looking through the air. But of course, you're photographing these massive landscapes through a vacuum.
And there's no dust in the air, so does that make the pictures more clear?
Oh, they're pristine clear. It really feels like you're there again. It's a super immersive experience.
Even for astronaut Megan MacArthur,
The first time I saw it, I cried. It just was it's that emotionally immersive.
who spent 200 days on the International Space Station.
All of that moonwalking happened before I was born, except for the very, very last mission. I didn't know a lot of the details. In particular, the astronauts talking about the fun things that they got to do.
Hey, I just threw something. It hadn't hit the ground yet.
There isn't a one of them who doesn't talk about how much fun it was to play in zero gravity.
Yes.
Or, you know, to hang a sandwich, you know, and do something else. To just grab the sandwich, have a bite, hang it again, and come back again. I can't get enough of that. I talked to John Glenn briefly.
Did you? Yes.
I get to meet these people at some point. And I
Are you
asked him,
starstruck when you meet them?
I am. It's like meeting the Beatles, you know. I'm not, and I'm, oh, hey, Tom, I really enjoyed that show you made. I can't believe these guys know my name. One of the astronauts actually said to me, hey, let me get this straight. Jim Lovell, Jim.
Who you portrayed in Apollo 13.
Oh, I portrayed in Apollo 13. Jim gets a movie? Do I get a movie? You know, I went up. I went up just like Jim. What else is out there that we haven't seen yet?
Hanks tells the stories of the Moonwalkers as if recounting memories on a Sunday drive.
It's a river that we crossed of human potential, of human dreams, and the stone cold hard fact that there is now hammers and footprints and pieces of junk and American flags and leftover equipment there that is in this place that we will go back to again.
Stories that are nostalgic for some,
It was just a fabulous thing to see again.
aspirational for others.
Did it feel like you were on the moon?
Yes, it felt like you're on the moon somewhere where you could be doing anything you want to be, having fun.
7-year-old Zoila Rollins from Dallas-Fort Worth wants to be an astronaut, her brother an engineer. Now they're one small step closer. During the Apollo missions, the whole world was supporting this
Yeah.
And now space is different. It's more commercialized. SpaceX is helping the Artemis
all right,
missions.
yeah. And
Elon
it's-
Musk is a polarizing figure. Are you concerned that there isn't as much unity around space travel?
It will be unified by the people who give a damn, put it that way. Here's one thing about 1968. What was going on in 1968? There was a war in Vietnam. There was a huge dynamic of competition and animosity between big chunks of the world. There was a massive amount of us versus them. That's 1968. Does that sound familiar? And if you want, if you need, if you seek some degree of reassurance or inspiration or example, you can get that from the fact that 4 human beings are going to start going back to the moon and they're going to be staying longer. It will be an example of the best of us if we choose to make it so.
You can watch the Moonwalkers every day at Space Center Houston, and the film is going on a North American tour starting in Boston this summer. It's also forward-looking. Hanks himself interviewed the members of the Artemis II crew that are going to be orbiting the moon next year. And Artemis, I learned in this film, is the sister of Apollo in Greek mythology.
His enthusiasm is so infectious. Didn't you fall in love with him?
Oh, I was
He's so smart and so talented, and he's one of the greatest human beings, I think.
I was already in love with him. He's my favorite actor. I didn't tell him that, but I just loved him even more. He was wonderful.
And the little girl said it best, on the moon where you can be anything you want to be.
And her brother was
Adriana,
like,
thank you.
yes,